My name is Eric. I'm one of the owners of Odd Meter Coffee where we're at. We're a small kind of wild coffee shop where we just love to celebrate all life, which includes humans and trees and squirrels and the earth. It's a big part of what we do, along with just making coffee. It's a huge part of our beliefs in minimizing any kind of contribution to the waste stream. So having something that can be regenerated or turned into something that can feed the soil is a huge part of what we do at home, my wife and I. Also, we, as a coffee shop, we go through so much coffee, so that's a lot of nitrogen that can be really good for soil health. So it just seems like such a waste to just not compost. Difficult? No, I mean, I think the biggest thing that really makes a difference is you have to just care. You have to want to compost, and then you'll find a way to do it. Fortunately, we have a really good partner. We work with Black Earth Composting, so they're a local business, and they do most of the hard work. All we have to do is make sure the compost is clean. So for instance, if we have a big bag of coffee grounds, we don't put like plastic in there or trash. It's just keeping it clean. So there's not a lot of work to do. Regarding expensive, no more expensive than any other thing a business really has to do to run. Yeah, so it all goes to Black Earth Compost. They're local. They turn their compost into soil. In fact, there's a garden down on Palmer Cove. It's just down the street. And it's a community garden, so there's a bunch of little rectangles where people can grow their food, and everything that's in there is compost from Black Earth, so it literally goes into soil and so on. I'd almost say that our business has impacted composting because making coffee's like an organic material. We're constantly generating, used coffee, so there's just an endless supply of compost. So it hasn't really impacted it in any way beyond just planning for it. So we need extra bins to hold compost or, that sort of thing. Well, I don't think there's any cons at all. I think it's 100% a good thing because you are literally putting back into the environment, into the earth. You're not just throwing away. I think that's one of the big misconceptions about our culture is even the term throw away. There is no away. Everything we have goes somewhere. And so, walking down the street and you see trash like in the bushes or in the trees, or if you walk by the ocean, you'll always see litter everywhere. I mean, that's just trash. With compost, you don't have to worry about that. It breaks down, it gets turned into something else. I think I'd try to tell them that I guess the waste products that they have or some of the things that they aren't being used can be repurposed, or it can be turned into something if they would only just put like a little bit of effort. Like all you need is a small bin, just only put this in here, don't put anything else. It's really all you have to do. It doesn't take much, but it makes a huge difference.
Justin Sandler. I'm one of the owners here at Black Earth Compost, and we're about 11 years old now, and Salem was one of the first big cities that we started composting with. So my friend Connor Miller, he's the CEO of the company, so he founded it. I joined a few months afterwards. I hopped in shotgun with him, and we started going around to restaurants and asking them if they wanted to compost their food scraps. At the time, it just sounded extremely exciting to be part of like a kind of a new movement, a new way to think about food scraps and waste in general, and started reflecting on my own impact on the environment and how much stuff I was using, and Was I disposing of it correctly? And then I saw a small compost pile in our backyard, and thought it was pretty amazing. And now we make a really big compost pile, and it's pretty cool too. Just see like the total. I mean, if you go kind of door to door, everybody puts out about 10 pounds of material is the average for residents to put out. But we're up to about 28,000 residents. So 28,000 times 10 pounds times every week of the year, it really, really adds up. So it's pretty amazing to see the whole cumulative effect of composting when more and more people get involved. Right off the bat, dealing with contamination is very tricky. We get a lot of things that aren't compostable coming in to our site. So we try to prevent that through education and through communication. It's got better over time, but that's probably our biggest issue, is how to deal with preventing contamination, because if we didn't have any, it would make the process a lot smoother. Yeah, another tricky part about composting is being able to find a good place to do it. Super lucky to be here in Manchester by the Sea. We've partnered with the town to run this compost site. We have one in Framingham, we have one in Groton, and we're trying to have some more compost sites. The more sites we have, the more material we can take in, but finding appropriate sites has been a challenge. Yeah, so right here is where kind of we have brush, we have some coarse bedding, we have some material that we integrate into the food scraps, which helps breaks it down. And then the piles age, they're aerated as in we have a pipe going through the pile, and that forces oxygen in, which helps speed up the process. And in about 6 months it's done. We turn the pile, we do remix it to help balance everything and keep the piles oxygenated. And they heat up to about 150 degrees, and it's a pretty amazing source of heat. But then the final step is we screen the material out, and that takes all the big particles, the big chunks out, and then we have a nice material compost that we then sell at garden centers or bulk or a couple different places. We are more than just like an A to B pickup and dump service. We have a lot of products that we do offer, all with the concept of sustainability in mind. So right off the bat, our main one is obviously compost, but we also have a compost soil blend. We have leaf mulch that we offer. We have black soil. We have a fly larva actually that we sell as like a good chicken feed. We're working on a lot of different things that we can integrate into our trucking routes that I think people will be excited to hear about. Compostable plastics, especially at a restaurant, it's pretty vital to the process of how they separate out their materials. If you think about having a compostable bowl, if that bowl were plastic, they would have to scoop out the material from the plastic and make sure that that plastic bowl is put in the trash. But with compostables now, that all of that can be put right into the compost bin. So it makes the process easier, but it also alleviates some of the stress from the recycling industry, because if these plastics are compostable, we can compost them locally at a site like this, rather than the mess that the recycling industry has turned into. It's a bit tough to say sometimes where plastics end up. So compostables make the process easier, and it's a great way to locally deal with the issue of how to process single-use plastics. I would convince a restaurant to start composting by maybe at least dabbling and starting a conversation with some of the other restaurants that do compost, and try to connect with them about what's satisfying about composting. And I really think once you implement it, you see how much of your trash is actually a very valuable resource, food scraps. It's about 40%, and it's the heaviest. So not only are you lowering the volume of your trash, but you're making it lighter. And you're using what was in your trash to make a vital resource of composting, of compost. And you're helping make a product that's being used to grow more food. It's rebuilding our local soils. It's help pulling carbon out of the atmosphere. There's just a list of beneficial reasons to composting.